our beautiful and amazing royals of Africa, Mbolo, Mbolwani, my dear people, this is your queen, Queen Ngningone II, 17th generation crown queen of the Fang people and of the Diasporan Africans, also known as the Immortals. Welcome back, my beautiful and amazing royals of Africa, to Nubia, the path to return, the home of the African royals. Now, if you're watching me for the first time, I'm your host, Queen Ngningone II. Welcome to Nubia. If you like my vibe, stick around. You will learn something. So, my dear people, I heard that some high-profile members within our community have come out and condemned their brother Kyrie over Kyrie's claim to his true identity while labeling it as an expression of hatred. So it baffles me because this is what we're dealing with. We are the only group of people who are incapable of uniting when facing major adversity. And this here really blows my mind because I'm like, where are they getting it wrong? Since when telling the truth has become an expression of hatred? Can somebody answer to that question for me, please? What is wrong with us? Have we been bullied and beaten to our core, to the point we have lost complete touch with our own reality? And we, as the people of Africa and their descendants, we all of a sudden don't seem to know what a real expression of hatred is. Because let me remind you, we have been the one at the receiving end of hatred for a very long time. This is as disheartening as disgusting. I understand that our people have been conquered, enslaved, and colonized by narcissistic individuals who master the art of projecting. So they project their fears, their guilt, their insecurity, and their hatred onto their victims. So the true issue at hand could never be addressed and resolved. So in a narcissistic society, the victims are always the ones being blamed. Like, oh, I broke into your house, but it's your fault. You should afford yourself a better security system. As funny as it may sound, but that's the logic of the narcissist. This is the trick with them, and it could drive the coolest people insane. Now, take a breather. Let's go back to the heart of the matter. Kyrie, just like Kanye, have recently revealed that they have awakened to their true identity, which is Hebrew or Jew as well. And this is what bothers the modern Jewish community. This is the elephant in the room, okay? So I would like the modern Jewish community not to confuse our son's identity reveal with an expression of hatred, because this is not the case. Please understand that many of us have had opportunity to be around modern Jewish people, either through work, business, or personal. Many of us have Jewish people as friends, associates, or even family members whom they love dearly. Besides, unless proven otherwise, there is no historical records of African or their descendants ever attacking the modern Jewish community in any form or shape. But the contrary of it is true when it comes to them. Although this is not the topic of today's message to you, my beautiful royals of Africa, but nevertheless, it is very important that I bring it up so we can put everything into perspective before people could jump in and make assumption and make of what we are talking about something else. Okay? So here we go. There are indeed historical records testifying of the involvement of the modern Jewish elite as the financial backers to all major events leading to the obliteration of our world as our ancestors knew it. from the invasion of our homeland of Africa, to the transatlantic slave trade, to the enslavement and colonization of our people, to the apartheid regime in South Africa. These are key events from the history of our people, which we, as a collective, are even still struggling with the aftermath of such horror. What happened to us resulted in a complete loss of identity and a loss of sense of self. And even speaking of lost identity, an identity which happened to be theirs in today's world. So please understand that we are not the attacker here. We are awakening to our true identity as prophesied by the God of our ancestors that this time will come. All right, we are awakening to who we are, and as far as we know, someone's identity is his birthright. Nobody can take it away from him or her. So I don't even understand the drama around this topic and why they're trying to make it an anti-Semitic issue. These are painful events in the history of our people, which we are never going to forget. And we are kindly asking our Jewish brothers and sisters to shy away from downplaying the suffering of our people while pushing theirs at the forefront of every conversation. Because supposed people of God are expected to be equipped with compassion towards fellow men. Now, we understand that some members of our community, meaning the community of the Africans born in America, have had or are still having very lucrative dealings with some members of the modern Jewish community, which I'm sure are very beneficial as a source of livelihood to many of us involved in those respective industries. I fully understand that fact. And those of us who are beneficiaries of such dealings are very grateful for that. Of course, we also have to understand that in business, it's never a one-way type of relationship, but a mutually rewarding one. Therefore, in my humble opinion, it would be safe to say that the talents and gifts of members of our community have also contributed to building the modern Jewish community massive wealth. So, to those of us still engaged in businesses with our modern Jewish brothers and sisters, please know that we are very happy for you. And we wish you a successful continuation in all your future endeavors with them. But please, do not be naive to mistake your personal experience or business experience with them as that of our collective experience with them as a whole, as a nation of people of Africa and their descendants worldwide. It wouldn't be wise to do so. So if you ask anyone intellectually honest enough about the issue at hand, ask them that if another group of people claim to be that which you are already claiming to be, is it an expression of hatred? Ask anybody, candidly, and let's see what they say. Let's not forget that recently, the United States have granted the self-identification right as pertaining to one's birth gender. So, meaning a boy is now free to identify himself as a girl and vice versa. People from other nationality who look Caucasian can freely claim to be Caucasian. You know, anybody can claim to be anybody these days. So I don't really understand the drama surrounding this issue. And I don't understand why they are trying to make it an anti-Semitic issue. It baffles me to see that in majority of people's mind around them, they still view us as their slave, and they still treat us accordingly. They still want to treat us as these children they went and kidnapped from Africa and brought into a foreign land and terrorized. We are nobody's slave anymore. So please stop treating us as if we were still your enslaved Africans. Let's continue. To the modern Jewish community, I suggest that wise elders should step in and advise members of their community to opt for dialogue with the African American community instead, okay? And I suggest to our brothers and sisters of the Jewish community to heed to wisdom and not to use coercion to try to silence any of us awakening to our true and unique identity and publicly claiming it, because it will terribly backfire this time. And let me tell you why. First of all, it has been prophesied to our ancestors who were kings right before the European invasions of our land that as we failed to unite as one, as ordered by Nzambe, the God of our ancestors, our kingdoms were bound to fall under the Europeans, who, unlike us, united as one to bring us down. They came and ended our world. But it was also prophesied that many, many years after the fall of our people, our enslaved and colonized royals will awaken to their true identity, that the God of our ancestors and our holy ancestors will heal and restore them. Okay? It was also prophesied that the God of our ancestors will crush by his might and power anybody, any group or nation in contention with his chosen people, or posing an existential threat to us and to the fulfillment of his words concerning us. It was also prophesied that he will strengthen and elevate the people or nations protecting his people. And to ensure that his words about his people will be fulfilled, the God of our ancestors, Nzambe, has set an expiration time to the suffering of his people, and that time has come. In my humble opinion, the nation of modern Israel needs to worry about the true expression of hatred the Western nations have recently expressed against her and her people, which they should take as a real existential threat at this time, instead of having a show of power with descendants of enslaved Africans, which is foolish in my opinion, and this is why.
There was just a UN resolution vote on condemning Nazism. Now, last year, if you remember, we covered this. The only two countries that voted against the resolution happened to have been the United States and Ukraine. Go figure. Go figure, right? I mean, what crazy. Crazy. Who'd have thought? United States and Ukraine? Ukraine overcame the Nazis in World War II, and the United States helped. Why would they be voting against this effort to condemn Nazism? What? Yeah. Well, it just happened again. And there happened to be even more than two countries this year that voted against the resolution to condemn Nazism, if you can believe it. Now, how many countries you think voted against this effort to condemn Nazism, meaning that they effectively took the position of saying that we support it? Give me a number. Okay, how many countries did not condemn Nazism? If you guessed 52 against and 15 abstaining, you would be correct. My math's bad. Is that 67? Last year, only the US and Ukraine voted against the UN resolution condemning Nazism. This year, 52 countries voted against it, including every state in the so-called West. The rehabilitation of fascism is well underway. So let's take a look at some of these countries, shall we? Here's the countries that did not vote to condemn Nazism. Algeria, Angola, Argentina. I'm not going to go through all of them, whatever. Azerbaijan. Oh, wait, no, these are the base countries, aren't they? Yeah, these are the base countries. Okay, so the countries that voted against condemning Nazism were Australia, Austria. Austria. Be careful. Don't let history repeat itself. Belgium, Bosnia, Herzegovina, Bulgaria, Canada, Croatia, Cyprus, Denmark, Estonia, Finland, France, Georgia, Germany. Germany voted against condemning Nazism? Oh my goodness, what the fuck? Greece, Hungary, Iceland, Ireland, Italy, Japan, Kiribati, Latvia, Liechtenstein, Lithuania, Luxembourg. Who cares about those countries? Blah, 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 blah. Norway, North Macedonia, New Zealand, Netherlands, blah, blah, blah. Slovakia, Slovenia, Spain, Sweden, United States, and Ukraine, and the United Kingdom. Israel voted in favor of condemning Nazism, which is interesting. And Russia, of course, voted in favor. Saudi Arabia voted in favor. China voted in favor. All the base countries. This is not entirely because, of course, you have Israel on the list voting the way they did. But for the most part, this is a list of like who's based and who isn't based. You know, that's how you can pretty much decipher who's based and who isn't based. So let's read a little bit about this. So, a UN resolution opposing the celebration of Nazism and related ideologies has met with significant resistance from the U.S. and other Western democracies, with 52 countries voting against it on Friday. The draft resolution combating glorification of Nazism, neo-Nazism, and other practices that contribute to fueling contemporary forms of racism, racial discrimination, xenophobia, and related intolerance introduced by Russia's representative to the United Nations was adopted with 105 votes in support, in addition to the 52 votes against it and 15 countries abstaining from choosing sides. The resolution expresses profound concern about glorifying Nazism, neo-Nazism, and former WAF and SS members condemning the construction of monuments and the holding of public ceremonies honoring the Third Reich. Introducing the resolution, the Russian delegate referenced an increase in xenophobia, anti-migrant sentiment, Islamophobia, and anti-Semitism, among other forms of discrimination, as necessitating it. The U.S. and several of its allies attempted to explain their vote against the measure by claiming Russia was exploiting NEZI atrocities to justify its military operation in Ukraine, insisting that to join them in condemning the lionization of Nazis would be letting them get away with weaponizing the Holocaust to serve their nefarious ends. The UK accused Moscow of, quote, furthering lies and distorting history, even while acknowledging it was, quote, legitimate human rights concerns raised by neo-Nazism mobilization to justify its activities in Ukraine. The US went further, arguing that Russia's pretextual use of fighting neo-Nazism undermines genuine attempts to combat neo-Nazism. And Ukraine claimed Moscow's anti-Nazism message had nothing in common with the genuine fights against Nazism and neo-Nazism, which Kiev stressed it condemned in all forms, except when they upheld Stefan Bandera, who slaughtered tens of millions of Jews, Russians, Soviets, Poles, individuals within the Roma community, so on and so forth, slaughtered millions of people, and welcomed a Nazi takeover of their country because they saw it as liberation, right? That would at one point guarantee a Nazi-recognized free Ukraine. So, the fuck. This is what I'm saying, folks. The liberal establishment right now, the global liberal establishment is ushering in this new era of fascism, of Nazism. And, the squad in the United States is behind all of this. They're saying, oh, yeah, we support Ukraine. You have to support Ukraine. More money for Ukraine. 60 billion is not enough. We need 50 billion.
Now, if you ask me, my beautiful and amazing royals of Africa, this here is a true expression of hatred, a concerning expression of hatred to their community they need to pay attention to, just as it is perceived by us as an expression of hatred against our community of the people of Africa and our descendants when we have the modern Jews engaging in using coercion to silence those of our children, publicly claiming our true and unique identity, which is tied to our roots. Knowing our roots is the starting point to our healing process, and denying us of the right to heal from what happened to us in itself, it's a true expression of one of the most disgusting form of hatred I have ever seen. So I would like our children to be at peace, to take the time to heal as the truth about us is unraveling. Fear not, my dear royals of Africa. The protection of Zambé has tripled over us. The portals are now open. Our sons and daughters' platforms should not only be used to promote their products and push their dysfunctional agendas on us. We must learn to reject any master-slave relationship involving any members of our community, for we are nobody's slave anymore. So I applaud our son Kyrie's heroic courage for sharing his wonderful news and finding with his millions of fans. It is worth a celebration because many are yet to understand the damage associated with the loss of one's identity and sense of self. They don't understand. They never have to go through it. So all is well. Zambé is with us. Zambé is watching over us. Please spend time in prayer and meditation. Know that whatever you put into the universe at this time will come back to you multiplied. So please do not be foolish. So with that said, send peace, love, and unity to our people out there, for it is so much needed among us. I love you all, your queen, Queen Ngningone II, 17th generation crown queen of the Fang people, who are traditionally descendant of the crown of Manasseh, also known as Manasseh, son of Yusafio, also known as Joseph. Until next time. Mwah.